Ground ball. McLean, second. 12 in a row. The oldest team in professional baseball has its 5th ever winning streak of a dozen straight.
Our job every day is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught. Left center. Reds win.
And this ball is launched high and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Ellie De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Larkin drills it. Do you believe this? That's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? He's back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds. Swung on and hit deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it 5-4.
Goes to second one. Around the first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone. Into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. It's a winning. It's a winning. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause in the pitch, and a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Royce Ring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball, by the third baseman into left field. Jay Bruce rounds third, and this one belongs to the Reds.
That's it pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now.
1 out, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Jay Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate, and this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap, right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. And Keel going back at the warning track. Oh, good one. It's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
And happy Monday to the Chatterbox Reds fans and maybe a Cardinals fan here and there checking us out. Welcome to Chatterbox Reds. Sam, we got some late breaking news.
I know. I just saw it.
Our man, Brian Hayes, thought, you know what? I'm having an off night tonight. I get to enjoy Busch Stadium and all that gives to them and the friendly confines of St. Louis. Maybe he thought, I'll go to the zoo. I'll do whatever. I'll go to wherever they go out. Go to the Arch, maybe watch the game. Nope. Yeah. He's got to play third base tonight because Spencer Steer was scratched and with neck spasms. So Sal Stewart is headed to first base. Spencer Steer to the bench, and Brian Hayes will be playing third base tonight for our Reds. So we'll get that right off the bat here, and welcome everybody again to Chatterbox Reds pregame show. Sam, we had a tough weekend. You slightly better than us in Cincinnati, being in Indianapolis and being a big Colts fan. I know.
2-0.
Yeah. Well, the Bengals are 2-0.
With a little more somber.
With a little asterisk there. But let's talk about the Reds and the season winding down here. Not a good weekend for our Reds.
No, not at all. You get swept by, at the time, the last place A's in the West, AL West. They get shot up there to 4th now, but yeah, when you're in a playoff hunt playing a last place team, it's definitely not ideal getting swept.
Mm-hmm.
The A's all season, I'd actually enjoyed watching them whenever they're on MLB Network or whatever, because they're just young. Their offense is really good. I mean, if the Reds had this offense, I think we're competing with the Brewers maybe, because they got, 5 dudes with 800 plus OPS who are all young. But yeah, just a very disappointing series. I think Friday kind of encapsulated a lot of the season, where you get a bunch of these opportunities, guys on base. I think their starting pitcher had more balls thrown than strikes.
Oh, that was horrible. It was just a wild game. I've tried to forget about it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you get shut out on a good outing by Singer. But yeah, like the season, there's just a bunch of blown opportunities, and very disappointing.
Yeah, I was checking out, of course, late night game on Friday. Trying to find, going through, getting ready for the game. So I turned on Chatterbox Reds pregame. Ricky and Mike were here, and I'm sure he doesn't appreciate being right about it. Excuse me. But Mike mentioned, he said, we got to score runs, because it's very possible that these A's, send a couple over the fence. And sure enough, Singer did. Singer gave up 2 solo bombs. Maybe it was a third. But the Reds were like 0 for, a million in runners in scoring position on Friday, and continue to add to it on Saturday. Full disclaimer, didn't watch a single pitch Saturday. But Friday, it was one of those things where it was like, all right, it's getting kind of late. I think they can score next inning. And then, they get 2 or 3 guys on and they don't score. And you convince yourself, okay, one more inning. The big guys are coming up. And what I mean by big guys, I mean McLean and Ke'Bryan Hayes, because the top of the lineup wasn't doing anything all weekend. Man, it's just what a if they could have won one, maybe. But then you get into this scoreboard watching of you're really not that you're just trying to match because you want to be we have to catch these guys, which trust me, I'm sure. Unless it really goes crazy, I just don't see it anymore. But you're trying to match, and then it's like the day that it just kills me, Sam. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, and the Mets, they didn't play well against the Rangers, and now getting swept, the Diamondbacks also hop us. So, and you just look at the pitching matchups over the weekend. You get Green and Lodolo. Mm-hmm. Green probably your one, and then Lodolo has been an all-star caliber, even though he wasn't an all-star. He's been awesome the whole year, and they combine 10 earned runs. So it's just very, very frustrating on that part, because those days the offense, it wasn't great, but, they scored runs at least. Will Benson, one of the great positives of the weekend, 2 home runs.
Sal Stewart had a couple, I think, at least one.
Yeah, he had one yesterday. And it was kind of in the 8th when the game was winding down, but, it seems like, yeah, you mentioned the top of the lineup hadn't been great. Friedel got on a bunch, especially in that Friday game. But, what good does base runners do when you're 2, 3, 4, 5 can't drive them in? So,
exactly, and that's where we've been. So,
yeah,
and now they're under 500 at 74 and 75. So
still somehow in the race.
It just 500. Is what it is. They're still in there a little bit. With the amount of teams that are hanging around, it's going to be interesting. But reported last night from our good friend Gordon Whitmire, the only Reds beat writer that posts on X, but you can't read anything he posts because the Enquirer makes you pay for it, and it's hot garbage anyway. He posts that Francona had a team meeting, and these guys are adults. I'm sure they feel the heat as well. But any thoughts on that? I think at this point it's just a little bit of false hope. But in my title, I put, it's the Undertaker series, guys.
Yeah, it's obviously just a manager trying to spark something in his team. And I think Tito, he's kind of known for being this manager who gets the best out of his players late into the season. And, he's probably not used to seeing a bunch of guys kind of flailing out because, he's been known for a lot of those Guardians teams kind of just staying in the hunt. And then August and September, while everyone's kind of getting hurt, that's kind of when they make their run. But
yeah,
I don't know if you can attribute anything more else than just him trying to light a spark.
I have one thing, and this kind of comes out of left field in a sense. I'm everyone on this stream can see me from my neck up, right? So not the most in shape guy. So I'm not really well versed in this sort of, topic, but it makes me wonder, Sam, the Reds overall injuries this year haven't been terrible. I mean, unless I'm totally blanking on it. Obviously, Hayes has had his things, but he's made of glass. Green's had his thing, but it wasn't like anything nuts. The Reds have stayed relatively healthy, at least not gone on the IL, and since early in the year. I wonder if there's some sort of exercise or workout or strength coaching, conditioning, that whoever's in charge of that just isn't doing the right thing. Because like you mentioned, Abbott was kind of flamed out a little bit. He's done that the last 2 years and kind of righted the ship this past week.
Yeah.
But Ellie, say what you want about Ellie. Listen, and if you haven't listened to it, listen last night to Trace and Mike. Trace laid it out there. Ellie's not been good all the second half. Is it conditioning? Is it an injury? It's something. That's all that matters, right? And I just wonder if there's something to do with that.
I don't know. You bringing that up just made me think for the first time since like April, the whole Spencer Steer situation at the start of the season, where is that the medical team's fault? I don't know, but definitely probably didn't do Steer any favors there at the start. And then some complaints with McLean too, but I don't know what goes on behind the scenes with the medical staff and all that, but there's definitely something to be said. I think 100% you could attribute the Ellie struggles to obviously the nagging injury he's been had, but just, he's a guy who plays every game, and that just does wear and tear on your body. So I think offseason for Ellie, focusing on that stamina, all that. Abbott's mentioned how his rookie year when he started to lose gas in the tank, it's not because of his arm, it's because of the legs.
Yep.
So I think the legs, that's probably one of Ellie's biggest improvements, just keeping that stamina up. But yeah, who knows? I think everyone goes through this towards the end of the season. It's only amplified because we watch the Reds every day. So
100%. And we're not going to get into it tonight. Maybe next Tuesday, our last show. We'll see everybody here tomorrow, and then next Tuesday's Sam and I's last show for the year as we wrap up. But I'm really thinking that there's a lot of changes kind of happen, whether it be the coaching staff, and I'm not going to go into what I think just yet. Maybe next week we can go through that, Sam. But it seems that some things just aren't working, whether that's from all the way to the top of baseball operations or just some of the guys who, the players, they need to do a reshuffle, or like I mentioned, maybe some of the strength coaching and such like that. Because Lord knows the manager's not changing. Everyone can sit here and say the only way that Francona's not managing this club next year is if, and I'm not hoping this, certainly. I think the only thing keeping him away from it is him actually like getting sick. He's aging, something like that, where he is physically unable to manage. I just don't see him leaving. Let's jump in. Let's stay in 2025.
Yeah, despite all that, we're still somehow within 2.5 games of a playoff spot. So
yeah, exactly. Right. So let's talk about that. There's 13 games left, Sam.
Yep.
Cardinals, Cubs, Pirates, Brewers.
Yeah, division.
All division teams. 2.5 games out. Tonight, the Giants play the Diamondbacks and the Mets play the Padres. So everyone's got some tough games. See if the Reds can make some, make some hay on the standings here. So they're still in it. What's your opinion on how many wins do the Reds need? Now, granted, we all know it's all about the other team. So
Yeah.
But what's your thought?
Yeah, you definitely does not seem like you can lose a series. And I think you also have to sweep somewhere. You'd like, 10 wins would be awesome. You'd love that. 9 would be great, but you just can't know. You have to get at least 9, I think. With how the Mets have been playing, it could be less than that. Honestly, I'm more worried about the Giants. I feel like they're kind of clicking at the right time. And they have a bunch of energy. If you've seen any of the Tyler Gilbert clips
That dude's
in
a
the
nut,
dugout, I think that just shows how much energy they have. But
those guys have been crazy for a decade, a decade plus with Hunter Pence in that era.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Giants and kind of being worried, they just called up their top prospect today. First baseman Bryce Eldridge. And can you imagine if the Reds would have held off calling Sal Stewart up till the 15th?
That's what I was thinking. If I was, I would have said like 13 games left and we just call him up now. What's that going to do? But I think, every time the Reds call up a prospect, it seems like immediately it's a walk-off win. That you saw that with Sal this time around, Ellie last year. So maybe that gives them the energy they need. They're playing the Diamondbacks, who also leapfrogged the Reds. So you're really just hoping for one team not to sweep that one and gain a whole bunch of ground. And then, but with 3 teams ahead of you, you just have to hope. You got to get lucky somehow and just continue to win. Yeah.
Just got to keep winning. That's what I think. I mean, I think 10 would say, okay, essentially you win every series and sweep 1, basically. Yeah. I'm looking on the calendar here, the schedule. To me, that's where you have to have 10. That would take you to 84 wins. Is that enough? That's the question. I think if you would have asked me that 3 weeks ago, I would have said no. But now we're getting to the point where if it's possible that it might be.
82 wins might get it with how poorly everyone's been playing.
The Mets, the Giants, the Reds, and I guess the Diamondbacks, they're all the same. And look at the season series from at least the Reds' point of view for all of them. The Diamondbacks, I think it was we played well here. We didn't play well down there. The Giants, it was a 3-for-3. The Mets, 4-for-2. So it is what it is. I'm just glad we're not in the AL Central because we'd be like 7 games out of the wild card right now.
Exactly.
You take these chances when you can. I don't think that this team honestly has it, Sam. I publicly said that for the first time. But we'll take advantage of the next 13 games.
Yeah, 100%. And, we've talked so much about this, just the outline of it, and we've barely gotten into the real game we're playing tonight. And pitching matchup, we'll get that started here. You see Zack Littell here. We're going up against Matthew Liberatore, lefty. So that's why you don't see Will Benson. I know a lot of people might have been wondering why that is, but you see Hayes there, and Duhar's back in the lineup, which, it's obvious he's dealing with a lot of pain. That's probably why he's not been in the lineup. But even through all that pain, when he's playing, he's still hitting the ball pretty good. So
I think you and I joked about him not playing, or I said maybe he's not even going to play the rest of the year. But he had that hit against San Diego last week.
Exactly.
But they pulled him right away for a pinch runner.
So it's the running that's going to do him there. Yep. But back to the pitching. In that Padres series you just mentioned, Littell's last time out, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and a Reds win. And when we were on last Tuesday, we were similar to today, really bleak. And then it was that series that kind of sparked it.
Yep.
And then, we get within a game. So hopefully it's the same mojo here. But, Littell was good last time out.
Yeah, what's crazy, and to go back to that, it was just 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games got him back in right there, and then they get swept, and the rest is history. But I think Zack Littell is someone who we talked last week. All of the trade deadline, the 3 of them, Hayes, Littell, and Duhart, all played well, or have all played well overall. I don't think Littell has a spot on next year's team, but that doesn't mean he can't help this team out tonight and going forward. The next probably gets one more start. I'm going to jump straight into the elephant in the room there. That's Elly De La 7-hole. Wow. I see you, WTI trader. I don't understand it. I've been pro Francona all year, but exactly, Savo says it. It's like, why now?
Yeah.
What makes today the urgent day? So that's all I really got to say about it. It just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it's his first time out of the third spot in the lineup all year, and against the lefty too is his weaker side. But is it even his weaker side in the second half?
I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah,
but let's be honest, he just hasn't done great.
Yeah, either side.
Salvo, if you missed it, I see you comment about Steer. Steer was in the lineup playing first, but has back spasms, so he still has a spot in the team. I'm sure he'll be here next year as well.
But the spasms there, you see Key Bryan playing third and Sal playing first, which we got at the top of the show, but
but this is the lineup. I mean, outside of Elly, right? Outside of Elly going to 7, this is what we've been seeing.
Yeah, and with Andujar also, who we mentioned that a second ago, but yeah, it's just strange to see it now. Elly batting 7th. If 13 games left, it seems to be too late, but you got to try something because you still have somewhat of a chance. I don't know what the percentages on Fangraphs are, but this is just a desperate move, I believe. But yeah,
100%. It's desperate. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I'm pulling up Fangraphs now. Let's see, but 4.8%.
Yeah.
So we still have the Mets are still in the lead for the wild card. Then the Giants, the Diamondbacks, and the Reds, with the Cardinals right behind the Reds. But I guess there's a chance until you're eliminated. Is all I'll say.
Exactly, and on the Elly thing, you replace Andujar at the third spot for Elly, and against a lefty on paper, that's without a doubt an upgrade. With your 3-4 being Andujar and Hayes. Andujar, when he's played, he's just killed really righties and lefties for the Reds. But this season against lefties, 945 OPS, we've gone over that, and then Hayes somehow still has a 1013 OPS versus lefties, despite his abysmal kind of 2 months minus, or I'd say August was really bad, into July, August, but then September, a little bit of a wake up from Hayes.
Yep.
He had that 10-game hitting streak stretch, and then that 8-game stretch where I think he hit 4 home runs. So 3-4, you'd like to get some pop out of there, especially with Liberatore on the mound, but it's just more shocking than anything, I think, to see Elly here at 7th.
Yeah, I actually thought they pulled him out of the lineup when I first saw it on my phone this afternoon.
Haven't had to look that far down on the lineup to see his
shocked.
name.
So I was like, where's Espinal at? Batting 9th. So, we touched on it last week. We were pretty negative about the show, about the chances, right? The Reds had lost against the Padres in game 1. Kind of thought that might be it. Then they win 2. So I think the plan here, Sam, is to say the Reds are going to lose tonight.
By a lot.
By a lot. The left-hander. And, we've kind of covered a little bit tonight's game, Littell versus the lefty and Liberatore. But what's funny is that the Reds played the Cardinals 2 weekends ago. It was Labor Day weekend, but not Labor Day. Labor Day was the Blue Jays came in. But that Friday, Saturday, Sunday series was against the Cardinals. And those same pitchers are pitching this week against the Reds. So it's Liberatore, it's McGreevy, who pitched like a, Cy Young Award winner. And then Andre Palante, who, has a 5.3 ERA, but, has like a 1 against the Reds. So honestly, it's a tough matchup this week for our Red Legs. It's going to be really interesting to see if that last night's, players only meeting and, the airplane ride with, I'm sure, free Chick-fil-A, see if that turned the tide for our team.
And that Cardinals series is another series that I just kind of remember vibes being really low because everyone expected Sal to get called up. We were kind of marking that Friday game against the Cardinals where it was just, all right, let's expect Sal this game. And then they didn't end up doing it. They waited until the Labor Day series with
September 1st. Yep.
The Blue Jays. But yeah, you mentioned the pitching matchup. I feel like we've seen Palante like 400 times since he's been a Cardinal. It just seems like every time we play the Cardinals, he's there. The really high release point guy who just seems like we can never hit. But yeah, if we're sticking with the negative theme, we're going to get swept. Going to get out of the playoff race here.
Well, let's not go too obvious. We have to kind of play it like we're mad.
You're right.
Yeah, we're upset. Honestly, are the Reds going to finish above 500? That's the real question at this point. I honestly, I think, Sam, if the Reds don't finish 500, I think there's a chance that Nick Krall doesn't survive this season. Call me crazy. I really don't.
I just find that hard to believe just based off the way the organization has been run past 5 years. It just doesn't seem like they do anything extreme one way or the other. It seems
but see, that's where I wonder, right? Is that Nick Krall?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So is Nick Krall, if you look at it too, if the Reds potentially, so if the Reds win 10, if they go 10-3, they win 84 games. That's a 500 team. Obviously, a few games over.
Yeah.
That's a 500 team. I think that's where they want to be. Now, I can make the argument, and I guess you could say the other way as well, that I think that there's 6 games that a player actually lost the game this year. Whether it was Ellie against the Brewers on that Friday night, I stand by that. Whether it was Ian Jabot on opening day, whether he should be in that situation or not, right? There's other plays that have a player has legitimately lost the game. Marte and Ellie on that Friday night against who was that last weekend? Home.
Marte, Ellie.
When they struck out and they had the bases loaded.
Oh, the Mets game. Bases loaded against Diaz. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I say, okay, the front office, you are at fault. And I get it. Other times I say, okay, Francona, you're at fault. And I can see it. But
to a certain extent.
Yeah, but the players, they are the ones actually executing the game plan.
Yeah.
So, and those are just a couple things that come to mind.
And you could look at it where the front office has actually been doing exactly what they had planned out, because the no peaks and valleys method that the Cardinals have kind of had also to get, stay kind of in the middle, get fans in the seats, sell your bobbleheads, but don't make any big move that can go one way or the other. And big moves for a small market team can be really risky because you really have to hit on those, because you don't have the same leeway as the big teams where you can just spin around it. But this has really been a no peaks and valleys team where you're staying at 500 the whole year.
Yep.
Just enough to keep the fan base engaged for a playoff hunt, but not enough to get us over the edge and get us into that true contention in the NL Central, and even just to fight for a wild card spot. You see it at the deadline where all the moves did hit. It went kind of best case scenario, but it's still not enough to get them past the Mets, past the Diamondbacks, past the Giants. So you could look at it that way.
I see, and honestly, if we had a call-in feature, I would bring him on if he was willing to. I see our guy Adrian. He's been on a few chats lately. This might have been the guy that's from a different country, maybe. I just don't think that Francona and Valaika are really that big of a deal. I just really don't. The whole Valaika thing, I saw a quote someone posted on X this afternoon when I was prepping for the show. Situational hitting. Well, no duh. You have to situational hit to win games. Look at the Brewers. Now, yes, the Brewers are hitting home runs and they're scoring a ton of runs. But I think we also need to score runs, on a non-home run way. Now, granted, do the Reds need a home run hitter? Yes. I hope if the Reds don't make the playoffs, please no one hit another home run, or Ellie don't hit another home run. I don't want a 20 home run hitter.
Yeah,
because to Adrian's point, though, if it is deemed that it's Valleca's fault, then have someone's head on the chopping block. Now, I don't believe that's what they're saying. I think it's Nick Kral's fault.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that Ellie is a 35 plus home run hitter.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's a 30 to 35 home run hitter on this roster. So I don't think that's Valleca doing that. But I do think it's Nick Krall and that crew. I mean, for crying out loud, Gavin Lux has 5. I thought he was going to mash in Great American Ballpark. Now that, now I feel like I'm flopping a little bit, but
I think more than anything, it's just no identity. If you're going to go one way, commit to it, have an identity. Cause it seems like now
the identity should just be Adam Dunn, King Griffey Jr.
Yes.
Bully ball into left field home run or right field home runs. Yeah.
Cause if you're going to buy into the speed, defense, situational hitting stuff, you can't strike out with bases loaded twice in a row in a really must-win series. Don't know if you can call the individual games must-win, but it's just a lack of, going one way or the other. I agree with you. The identity of the team has to be going forward, getting home run hitters.
And I can't prove this, right? I'm sitting in a basement in southwestern Ohio. Okay, I have no sources. I'm just go from what I know. Chris Valleca is the hitting coach, and he's also the director of hitting for the whole organization, just like Derek Johnson is for the pitching side. So there's no difference, at least you would assume, there should be no difference in what they're preaching in Louisville, Chattanooga, and the rest of the minors as to what they're preaching here. They just don't have a power hitter unless they strike out like crazy. I mean, honestly, the biggest power hitter they have, both of them are in Louisville. Who has more power than CES and Reese Hines? No one on this roster. No one.
And they'd been sitting there. Will Benson, who's probably
maybe
the one playing right now.
I would take Reese Hines over Will Benson power wise.
Power wise, no doubt. If you're doing a home run derby, yeah. But I think it's just frustrating when you have a guy that can hit home runs like Will Benson, and they hadn't been playing him the whole time, and then there's just no identity with the team. So,
and I know we're going over, but I'm on a roll right now. This is where the Reds have to figure out who's actually going to play next year. And I'm going to rewatch Trace and Mike from last night. They already went through it. Yeah, I guess you're going to have Stevenson, Stewart, McLean, Ellie, Brian Hayes. It's already locked. I mean, it's already decided who's your infield. And then who's your outfield? Marte's in right, no doubt. Or maybe center. But they have to have 2 power-hitting outfielders and a DH. I'm the biggest Spencer Steer fan you'll find, this side of Everett Henry and Mark Fetters. But let's be honest, you don't want to pencil Steer in as an everyday player.
No. Especially not at first where you're trying to get
or right or left or DH.
Right. He's the ideal utility man that you find a spot for whenever a guy needs off.
He's a glue guy. He's a bench guy. But that's to me what I would. That's the decisions and the ideas they have to come up with this offseason. And again, we're just talking offseason because we want the Reds to win 10 out of the next 3 or 13 or 13 in a row, so I can buy a 2025 playoff T-shirt.
Trying to get the same magic we did last week.
Yeah,
with the Padres.
So, this is why baseball is fun. But I was thinking today too. And we'll bring it kind of back down a little bit. What makes baseball fun to me is everyone's like interchangeable. It's a failing sport, right? The best players fail 70% of the time. And if you lose a player, it's almost not a guaranteed loss. You can win so many different ways. You can win with a home run. You can win with pitching. You can win with defense. Where, hate to put, as I say, the knife in the stomach or in the back here, but you talk about the Bengals and losing one player, it's like your season's over.
Yeah.
The Reds have been playing, they would have lost Ellie in April. You would have felt, you know what? I'm not saying they'd be here. I'm not saying that because he had a great first half. But it's it's a different sport and it makes it fun. I see some questions in the chat. Sam, if you're ready to go for another 5, I'll go for another 5 or so.
Yeah, I'm good for however long.
I want to answer this one from Adrian. Do you think Hector Rodriguez makes the roster out of spring training next year? Sam, you go first. And then I'll take it.
If I had to say now, I'd say no. But I think I loved Hector, especially kind of when the deadline came around. I did not want us to move Hector. I think it really just depends on what you do with Friedel in the future. Because if this is a guy you're keeping for the next 3 years, I think Hector stays down there in a similar situation to what Sal had this year. Probably gets called up much sooner. You'd think maybe a middle of the summer call up, June or July. But I think I love what I've seen out of Hector. I think if you did move on from Friedel, he's probably one of the most tradable guys you have. I think Hector can probably crack the roster there and see what you have out of him. But that's a little bit risky. You're relying on a rookie guy to play center, left, right, wherever you want. But if I had to say now, no. But I think he can probably get up maybe around May and do what we've seen in the past years with McLean, Ellie, Sal, just kind of immediately give you that spark. But I'd say no as of now.
I think Hector, if I would assume, based on where he's from, that he'll probably play some winter ball similar to what Marte did last year. And he has in the past, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, if he has a fantastic winter ball, I mean, I'm talking like batting 400, comes into spring training, just knocks the cover off the ball, I think there's a shot. But I just don't think that they call him up first thing. I think it's a May deal. If they think that this guy is legit and they want to build around him. I saw another one from Stoidelark regarding who we think the position players who could be around here next year. And again, we're just talking about next year, guys, because we want the Reds to go 13-0 the next 13 games. I think I already mentioned it. If I'm looking at this lineup right now, just talking about this lineup because it's in front of me, I don't think there's any way that Hayes is back next year. Austin Hayes, excuse me. Thank you. Austin Hayes. I think there's an outside shot. Friedel's gone.
And we didn't even mention Benson with the whole Friedel Hector thing. I think he plays a huge part in there too. Because
I'm sorry, Benson. There's no way he's here next year. And
that kills me.
Not even a prayer that he's around.
Because I mean, when the Guardians traded Benson, that's a Tito team that traded him, and then Tito comes over to the Reds and probably does the same thing. I don't know how much I buy into this. I'm not trying to go down into this conspiracy stuff with that, but there's just no way. I don't think you can sit there and rely on him. He's a four. At best, he should be your 4th, 5th outfielder. I think he's better than that though, because
I just don't. I did, but then last year he proved that he couldn't play every day.
Yeah, but still, I think he's putting up a 750 OPS right now in a season where he's had the most inconsistent playing time you can get, and where he's had slumps where, like all guys go through. But then he comes out of it, and then you've seen him win National League Player of the Week this year, and he's probably the best hitter the Reds put out there last series. And I just think his upside too. I still think there's something there, but it'd be hard to see Will Benson. I just don't see him on the team either, just of the way they've been treating him this season. Not playing a lot, as of last week or so, he had only had one start since August 1st. So I find it hard to believe as well, but it definitely pains me to see that.
I would be shocked if he's here next year. Last thing I want to cover, and I don't want to get canceled from this. I've enjoyed this year. I don't want the bosses here to cancel me. I think there's an outside shot Ellie plays outfield next year. And I know Trace has brought it up. Like, when do you call it? Is it next year? I think here is the real question. There's no chance that he can play center. He could play anywhere. I think he could. I think Ellie could go and play wide receiver for the Bengals today. He could play safety. I really do. I think he could. I think he could go. I think he could go play basketball at UC, or Xavier. Not, he would be fine. I think Ellie could play center because if they're ready to move on from Friedel, if they don't believe Marte can play center, which the jury's out, I think he's played a good right field for moving this year. Is Marte your center fielder? Is Friedel or a free agent, which I highly doubt?
Yeah.
Or is Ellie? Because could you replace Ellie at short with a Friedel type player? First guy that comes to mind, I don't want him, but the Isaiah Kiner-Falefa type player. Could you move Matt McLean to center?
I see that more likely than Ellie.
Or not center. I meant short.
Oh, okay.
Matt McLean's not going the outfield. I think you could could you fill in the shortstop hole and realize, yes, I'm not going to get that all-star Ellie type, play from him, but it's an average, more than average shortstop that would replace Friedel, and then you move Ellie to center.
Yeah,
McLean to short, Sal to second, and then you have a first base open. Yeah. I think there's different ways here, and it's going to be. I think, guys, it's going to be an interesting offseason. I think it really is, and the Reds have a lot of hard decisions to make.
I think the best bet in that situation is just get a free agent outfielder, but that's probably unlikely because I think it's going to be
holding out hope for Mr. Schwarber to come on down.
Yeah, 100%. I just find it hard to replace Elliott short. Obviously, you're not going to get that same production, but even to find, a viable replacement there. Now we're getting way into the weeds.
Bo Bichette going to be an option for me.
I don't think that's a good ball player. You can get there, but I don't think they're.
Here's what I have.
You're gonna have to give up something for Bichette.
He's a free agent.
Oh, is he?
Yes. Here is the hope I have. Nick Martinez is off the books. So you already have $21 million.
20, yeah.
Pagan's off the books. The Reds can afford and Hayes is going to be off the books. The Reds can afford a big time hitter. That's it. Schwarber, Middletown.
Yeah.
Schwarber.
That's the dream scenario. Obviously, just stick him in at DH every day. There's your everyday DH that you'll get that we haven't had forever. Even like a guy like Trent Grisham, who is on the Yankees this year.
That's another guy.
I would love
trade Friedel and bring in Trent Grisham. Though he's going to probably cost a little bit of money, though, Sam.
Probably he's had a great season this year. I think he's a 30 home run guy. It's probably a 3-year 60 maybe. I'm just guessing that completely. I have no knowledge about that, but I still think you say all that money's off the books, and you just have to sign a guy instead of making all these internal moves. This guy goes to center, this guy's goes to second. It's just all eliminates if you just sign a guy like that. Here
is the last thing we got to say. We got to wrap it up. It's 45 minutes. We're back on tomorrow, guys. I see Stoyalark. I see Adrian, Savo, Molly's in here. Optimistic John. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk more about this if the Reds lose tonight. That's all we'll talk about for a half hour on my show. Okay. We were given Tuesday. We were told, make Tuesday what you want to be. Here's a general outline. We're talking tomorrow about the offseason if the Reds lose tonight. Okay?
Or if they win and we do the jinx again.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
You stick with the
offseason.
offseason.
Exactly. We got to stick with the bad news stuff. So
yeah.
if the Reds do win tonight, they are 2 games back of the wild card. If they don't, they're 3 games back. So we'll see. Here's my last thing. I don't know Kyle Schwarber. If I did, I might have a little Phillies merch. I might even have a little Red Sox merch. I might even have a little Nationals merch, but I would have told him to shove it when it came to the Cubs. A guy like him, at least this is how I would be. If I was him, which I am not, he's already won a World Series. Could he win one this year? It's possible. What would you want to do, Kyle? Kyle, what would you want to do to finish off your career? Come play for your hometown team and lead them to a World Series. That's what I'd want to do. I don't care about winning anymore. I've won in Chicago. I broke the curse of the GOAT and whatever other curses they had.
Mm-hmm.
I won in Philadelphia this past year. What's the last thing I want to do? The kid from Middletown, just like the guy from Akron, bringing a championship home to his hometown. What else would you want?
And
so that's my plea to Kyle Schwarber.
Also an Indiana Hoosier. Indiana Hoosier as well.
Yeah, I don't care about that. He's just from Middletown.
A lot of Indiana Reds fans as well. So I think that would go a long way too for the hometown guy. But yeah.
Sam, let's go ahead and sign us off.
Yeah. We went into the weeds of the offseason here, hopefully to will the Reds to a victory tonight. But yeah, we covered it all. Littell going tonight, hoping to get the Reds a win, but we'll see. A lot of stuff got to play out. 3 teams ahead, but
yep.
Everyone tune into the post game tonight. Make sure to like. Not sure if it'll be Mike again with Trace, but Nick is going to be out. But still, tune into the post game show. Leave like on this as well. Alex said it. We're going to be back tomorrow, but hopefully the Reds win in between. Hopefully the reverse jinx works, but we shall see. It's all got to play out. And with that being said, Alex, go Reds.
Go Reds.